Pass in Santa Clara, California. Today, the world stops to watch two titans collide for the ultimate prize. On one side, the AFC champion New England Patriots, a dynasty reborn, led by the phenom Drake Maye and the grit of Mike Vrabel, chasing a record-breaking 7th Super Bowl championship. On the other side, the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold's unbelievable redemption story meets the relentless new age Legion of Boom. It's a rematch a decade in the making, and the ultimate quest for the Lombardi on the biggest stage in sports history. You are locked into Clearing the Bench, and this is Super Sunday Takeover. ETB's coverage of Super Bowl 60 starts right now.
Well, we've made it to Super Bowl Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Clearing the Bench. I'm Zain Bando, he's Grant Winsauer. Ben Kruse to join us in a little bit. Grant, how are you today?
I am awesome. And honestly, I have to say, Callan, great job with the intro. That is awesome. That is awesome. I loved it. And I'm sad that we are at the end of football being on TV for 6 months or whatever the actual number is. But in actuality, in 2 weeks we got the NFL Combine, so there's not really much of a break between football and the scouting combine and everything else. So football is year round now, everybody.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue because we are also year-round now as a network. You can catch all of our content at youtube.com/ETB Network. You can follow the flagship show, The Football Forecast, at TFB Forecast ETB. And, of course, wherever you may be watching this right now, whether it's YouTube, whether it's X, we're on a bunch of different platforms. So let me just go through all of the platforms that we're currently on. We're on the main MG The Bench Podcast Network YouTube channel. We are on Grant Winsauer's Quadcast YouTube channel, which is his own separate Chicago Bears podcast. We're on my personal YouTube channel. We're on my X right now, the ETB Network X, the ETB Sports X, which is the main show I host with Nick Morganson that releases every Wednesday, and so much more. Grant, anything you want to plug from your side, because your channel is connected, before we get started with today's festivity?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's just, when we got forced to come over to StreamYard, I realized that I could connect my YouTube channel. So, I connected my YouTube channel to hopefully help grow, my channel. And I have 112, subscribers right now, which, I only started YouTube about a year ago. So I'm it takes a while for the YouTube algorithm to actually like you. But I'm sure that I'll get building the support system there. And I think these shows are a great way, because the more often you post YouTube videos, the bigger you get. So I mean, I use this as an opportunity to my advantage. So
yeah, for sure. And today's show, Clearing the Bench, is the next leg of Super Bowl coverage here on the network. So just figured we would kind of go over what we're going to be discussing today. So as I just alluded to a few minutes ago, Ben will be joining us in a little bit. And shout out to the 30 people who are already in the
Yeah, 30 people. I mean, sorry, Ben. Sorry, Zan. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. And in fact, we have our first comment. It's a shout out to Nick Morganson.
Yep, thank you, Nick.
Stream. Thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. Nonetheless,
I'll go and do that too. Sorry.
For sure. And nonetheless, kind of what we're going to be discussing today, we're going to do a bit of a recap of the AFC and NFC championship games, because on the latest edition of Football Forecast. We really didn't do that. We talked more about just coaching carousel, and then we went into the Super Bowl itself. So we gotta return to where we were to get to where we are. Well, so we're gonna start with the championship games, and we'll get into actually previewing the Super Bowl. I don't think either of our predictions have changed, but what we will do is we will go into keys to victory for both teams. We'll go into best bets, and we'll also get into a little bit of some Bears news later on in the show as well. So looking forward to seeing all that we kind of converse about here over the next hour and a half to 2 hours or so. And of course, at the end of the show, we will plug the continuing coverage because there will be more coverage when we said the other day it was going to be a takeover. We literally meant it was going to be a takeover. So this is the first leg on Sunday of a 3 to 4 leg extravaganza, if you will. So this channel is going to be active and busy like no other. The first time since I've been a part of this network that the channel has been this active on Super Bowl Sunday, so it's really nice to see. But let's get started, though, with the AFC and NFC championship games. We obviously know who is in the Super Bowl. It's New England and the Seattle Seahawks. But we need to talk about how these teams got to where they are. So, of course, the Patriots went on the road and beat Denver in a snow globe type game, and then of course in the other game we had Seattle outlasting the Los Angeles Rams in one of the best games of the entire season, postseason or regular season. Grant, just early on, what were your thoughts on both of these games? As nearly 60 people trickle in here 7 minutes into the stream, and just kind of talk to me about whether this is the Super Bowl matchup you expected, and then we can debate a little bit as to what we think of the matchup here in the next couple of minutes. But I'll let you have the floor first.
Well, thank you, Zan. First of all, but first of all, I'm gonna start with the AFC game because both the teams that were in that with the Patriots and the Broncos deserved to be in that game. However, I kind of knew that the Patriots were going to win with the Bo Nix injury happening on the second to last play of the previous game. And I know that's kind of off what we're talking about, but it's important to mention. But let me first say, in the first half, there wasn't snow on the field, and then just somehow in the monsoon of snow, the second half was just completely different, and there was limited scoring in the second half, and the Patriots barely made it out of there. But the Patriots just with their coaching staff and with their their rapport with players just made more sense that they were the ones that were going to be in the Super Bowl. And I want to emphasize this. Everyone that is saying that the Patriots again are returning to the Super Bowl, there is something that I want to say. It is at least not the Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it's the first time in the post-Bill Belichick era that New England is in the Super Bowl. Yes.
Now, yeah. I do also want to emphasize this real quick. Mike Vrabel was on Bill Belichick's staff,
which he was. Yes.
But Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick, even though they are kind of cut from the same cloth in terms of coaching, they are different coaches. Bill Belichick is stuck in the past of coaching type of ways.
Yeah, he's stuck in the personnel wins you football games versus Mike Vrabel, where he knows that well, not just modern, but he knows that sometimes better talent is going to win you games instead of just strictly analytical based. Because if you do your homework, Belichick's core principle was kind of essentially letting his players and their accolades speak for themselves versus Vrabel knows, okay, I have the best 11 guys on the field at this point. This is all I need to do to go win, and that's what he does.
Yes, I completely agree. And now going to the NFC Championship game, I actually am going to look up this. Zan, do you know the score off the top of your head?
I'm going to double check it, but I think it was 34-27. Hang on.
I'll check too. Seahawks, NFL schedule.
31-27.
31-20. Okay. And they played the Rams, right?
That would be correct. Yep, it was the third time the two teams met. Yep.
And honestly, first off, I want to say congratulations to Matthew Stafford for getting MVP. Totally deserving. But I am so happy with that the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, because this Super Bowl matchup is a rematch from 11 years ago now, or is it 10? Is it 10 years?
Well, technically, if you count the Super Bowl, it would be 11. If you count the regular season, it would be 10.
Okay, well, do it the way you guys want. But anyway, this is a rematch from a Super Bowl from about 10 or 11 years ago. And the Patriots were the ones that came out on top because of a lucky and stupid call by Pete Carroll to pass the ball instead of run the ball, and Malcolm Butler got a miraculous interception off a slant at the 1 yard line. I'm just going to say this. If Mike Macdonald is at the 1 yard line today, run the damn ball, run it, because it will at least give you a better chance to get a touchdown. However, I am very happy with this Super Bowl matchup because I do believe that the Seahawks are wanting revenge. And I also want Sam Darnold to, this year he has totally silenced the critics, from his post or his early career with the Jets and Carolina and all that stuff. And I want him to win a Super Bowl. And this is not me saying that I don't like Drake Maye or Mike Vrabel. I like them both. It's just I've seen enough Patriots Super Bowls in my lifetime already that I'm kind of bored of it. So the NFC.
I think a lot of people feel that way. You're not the only person to feel that type of way about it.
And I thought the NFC Championship game was great. 31-27. I mean, that's 34-27. That's
31-27. You had it right.
Oh, I had it right. Okay. Sorry about that. But seriously, both teams have high-powered offenses, and I am very intrigued to see how the Patriots plan to stop, Jackson Smith and Jigba, this tonight, because JSN is just he is the best wide receiver in football right now. He's the best wide receiver in football right now. I completely think that's a true statement. But
I think he is. I think his numbers prove it too. I don't think you're just stating an opinion. I think his numbers back up what you're saying.
Yeah, I the thing is, if I'm looking at the box score right now for the Rams and Seahawks game, Matthew Stafford had almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Seahawks. He threw for 374 and completed 63% of his passes. Now, Sam Darnold. Oh no, that was the game before. I'm sorry. So Sam Darnold, the game before, had an oblique injury, which limited his passing yards, but he came back in the NFC Championship game and threw for 70% of his passes, 346 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Jackson Smith and Jigba went for 10, 153, and 1 touchdown. I don't necessarily know if Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be able to put up a stat line like that tonight, but I'm going to say he will get a touchdown tonight. I do believe that will be on the stat on the score sheet. But I think this is probably one of the best Super Bowl matchups that you could ask for. Personally, for most of I will say this: I did imagine the Rams in the Super Bowl. I thought the Rams would be one of the teams in the Super Bowl, but
I thought so too, and in fact, that's a perfect segue into previewing the Super Bowl. Just kind of now that we're going down that road a little bit,
yeah, sure.
yeah, and just continue with what you were saying because I completely agree with you. I thought it was going to be Rams, New England in the Super Bowl, and I was really surprised.
And in that sense, like in that scenario, if it was the Rams and the Patriots, I would still be rooting for the Rams, because I've just seen enough of Patriots Super Bowls, like I mentioned, about 2 minutes ago. But I think the Seahawks can pull this out because the Patriots have the past few weeks they've gone through very challenging teams in terms of their opponents. They beat the Broncos and they beat the Texans before the 2 weeks before this, and I just don't think that they can do it in a third time. If they do, all the power to them. But I just I want the Seahawks to win. I mean, and that would just also be a much better feeling for Clint Kubiak to win the Super Bowl and then go to be the head coach of the Raiders. I know that that's not necessarily a topic that we discussed talking, but
Well,
I mean,
yeah, that actually is a very unique angle because now there's more stuff coming out about that, and it leads me to want to ask you this question now about the Kubiak situation.
sure,
Do
sure,
you
shoot.
think do you think, and this is sort of, it kind of diverts a little bit, but it's sort of related because of who I'm about to mention. Do you think that Tom Brady's influence on Fernando Mendoza makes him a lock to go number one to Vegas in April? Because I personally think so.
Well, okay. Here's my thing. So, I believe that Mendoza will be going one to the Raiders in April. But here's the best thing that if that is what happens, the most important thing that you have to do when you have a number one overall pick and you're picking a quarterback, because there are situations where you don't pick a quarterback number one, like the Browns did it with Myles Garrett. Shoot, that's the only thing that's the only example I can think of right now. But it's very important if you're picking a quarterback that you bring in the best offensive mind you can, and that is Clint Kubiak this cycle. And I want to emphasize something here with Clint Kubiak. I know that he's only been in the league for a couple of years and he's had a couple of stops, but people are forgetting that his father was in the NFL for so long.
A long time.
And if anything, if he needs a resource to help him build a coaching staff, he will go to his father, and his father will help him build one of the best coaching staffs that he could ever build for his son. I
Oh,
think that is going
100%.
to be a great resource for him. And there is a total argument that Clint could build a great coaching staff on his own. But if he wants to go to his dad and say, "Hey, could you help me, find a quality offensive line coach or a quality cornerbacks coach or something like that, or any position coach really, or any defensive coordinator option or offensive coordinator option." Now, I will emphasize this: whoever is the offensive coordinator in Las Vegas when Clint Kubiak is the head coach is more of a glorified pass game coordinator, because I believe that Clint will be calling plays because he has a great rapport of play calling the last couple of years. But I really think that the Raiders made the best hire that they could this late, in the cycle, because you know last year when the when coaching hires were being made. The top two were Vrabel and Ben Johnson, and Vrabel was hired like 2 or 3 days after his contract was over with the Browns. But then and the Patriots kind of cheated because they interviewed 2 minority candidates right away and then literally hired Vrabel. Like everyone knew that Vrabel was going to go to the New England. I mean, even though he interviewed for other jobs, his favorite was going to be the Patriots. He knew everyone in the Patriots. It just made so much sense. But then, Ben Johnson, he goes to the championship round, or was it the NFC?
He went to the divisional playoffs and lost to the Commanders.
Thank you. But I mean, he lost on that Sunday, and was hired that Monday for the Bears job, and then reports came out, that he was going to build a superstar staff, and he took a couple of great assistants from Dan Campbell and Antoine Randall L and JT Barrett. But my personal favorite, it didn't necessarily show that great this year, but my personal favorite hire that he made was Dennis Allen. I think it's gonna show this year after we focus the draft and free agency on defense, because we focused a lot of our resources last year on offense, and I think this year it's going to be on the flip side.
Yeah, fair enough, and I think those are all very very valid points. But yeah, Clint Kubiak does have a Super Bowl to focus on before getting to Las Vegas, of course. So looking at the game itself now, I'm certainly not changing my pick. I don't think you are either. It seems like there hasn't really been much line movement from a Vegas standpoint. This is as we're doing this live, so we're 5-6 hours away from kickoff, and the line hasn't really moved all that much. Just any I guess final thoughts on this line, because this will probably be the last time we'll see it before the game actually starts, and then. And honestly, I really didn't get a chance to talk about this on Football Forecast the other night, but I think the over/under is exactly where it's supposed to be. What do you think?
I think with how high powered these offenses are, I am not going to disagree with you, but at the same time, there's an argument that says that both these defenses are great. That this could be possibly a game where only like 25 points is scored, or there could be an argument where there's a way that this could be a 50-point type of game scored. And I'm wondering why the line is set at 4.5 instead of 3 or something like that, because these teams are both evenly matched. I think these teams are fairly.
I think so too. I think a couple plays, and I think New England's covering this. So
I think the difference is going to be an interception or fumble.
That's what I think too. I think there's going to be an interception that turns the whole game upside down.
Or maybe I'm just going to throw this out there: a punter kick return, maybe something like that, something unexpected.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of people who haven't already. I think Moneyline Grant, you're going to see a lot of people bet New England, and I think a lot of people, if you want the number, I think a lot of people are going to take that Seattle number and run with it.
Oh yeah. I will come out and say this: I'm not betting on this game. I am not very good at betting. When a couple of years ago, I won $100 on squares, but that was in the 2016 Super Bowl, and I won $100 because
What squares did you win? Do you remember?
Oh God, that was 10 years ago. I don't remember that. I remember the game that I bet that we did the scores on though. It was the I believe it was the Panthers and Denver Super Bowl. Yeah, the last one that Manning played in, I believe.
Yeah, and the last time he won the Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that was the year that I won, I think, or it was the year before when the Seahawks lost. I'm not sure.
Oh no, well the year before. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, because the year before Seattle would have lost to New England, and then the year before that they would have won the Super Bowl because they beat Denver, and then the next year, from what I recall, they lost to New England on the Malcolm Butler interception.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great Super Bowl. I'm very happy with it, and I can't wait to see the outcome for it. And I'm just gonna say this: regardless of the outcome, I am not gonna be upset because this is a great matchup.
No, I'm not going to be upset either. I just think, an argument could be made. It's a great story for both teams, regardless of who wins. But I think if New England wins it, which I don't think they will, but if New England wins it, the target on its back next year is going to be astronomical. There's no one expected them to go this far, much less, much less win the division and essentially get not home field advantage, but essentially home field advantage because they played at home 2 games and then they kind of made it a New England West type of environment in Denver. So they've had all the momentum like going into this game that you could possibly imagine. And what I'm just the most intrigued about is now you're going to get a first time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and there's a chance that Macdonald versus Vrabel. I'm not saying it's a rivalry or anything because it's not even close to that, but
No,
this could very well represent the next generation of of who NFL coaches are.
I have a question for you. So now this can kind of pertain to our to the topic that we're talking about right now. But Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year, right? You
Correct.
saw that,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and there has been a kind of like a curse on whoever has won Coach of the Year. The one, you want me to bring Ben in here?
Sure. Yeah. Ben
Actually,
is finally here.
perfect.
Welcome
This
into
is
the stream.
literally perfect timing here because I'm
I
actually
appreciate it.
asking Zan a question about Mike Vrabel. So Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year. Congratulations to Mike Vrabel and Ben for being a huge Patriots fan. I see your Patriots hat and probably your Patriots t-shirt. But my question to Zan was, there's usually a downfall with the Coach of the Year, the year after the coach wins. Do you imagine that happening to Mike Vrabel? And how big of a downfall? Out of curiosity, if
you went to me first, so I'll answer first, and then I'll let Ben
yeah,
go.
I was asking you first, and then I was going to go to Ben.
Sure. So I'm gonna say the answer is no, and that's just simply because of how he's rebuilt the roster. That's as simple as I could put it.
That's fair. Ben, what are your thoughts? I kind of think I would know your answer since you're a Patriots fan, but I kind of want the bias aside.
Well, I think Zan pretty much kind of said it all. I don't think Mike Vrabel is the type of coach in which he's going to let that happen. I think we do have a harder schedule next year, so it will be kind of interesting to see kind of how he is matched up against some of these teams. I'm not obviously saying a lot of the teams that we faced this year weren't good, but I do think that for the naysayers out there that we faced an quote easier schedule. And so, obviously next year, Vrabel, I think the one thing about this team that's been a lot special is take everything aside. He's been the reason. I think he's honestly the massive reason why we're in this spot tonight.
Okay.
I can agree with that.
I think if you, Gerard Mayo, it wasn't not a knock on him, but I just don't think he was ready for this job.
Right.
I think Vrabel at least had the head coaching experience, and that was one thing that we needed. And I think there was a previous episode that we talked on Forecast, maybe it was last year, year before. I don't know if it was Grant or somebody else. And they basically said, I think that, Mike Vrabel would be an excellent hire for this team. And I remember that. And I'm like, yeah, I think he'd be great. But it's all about in terms of what they can bring in as well. And they ended up bringing a lot of great pieces. And I think that pretty much speaks volumes to the culture that this team has brought. Whether it's a guy like Milton Williams, who was a Super Bowl champion last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Drake, of course, has been having a great year this year, and I can't be more proud of him, despite, of course, his struggles in the playoffs. But, of course, that will tend to happen when you're a second-year quarterback playing your first ever playoff run. So I think it's really good for his experience and to have some elements into play as well. But, yeah, Vrabel, I think there might be a little bit, but I'm taking even my bias aside of things. I think, to me, he's arguably, I think, a top 5 AFC coach down the road here. I just think that he's built this culture top to bottom. The Jets, who are obviously our division foe, they actually were the team that wanted Vrabel the most. And the reason why that Vrabel decided to go to the Patriots, of course, was, I know, Grant, familiarity, and he just felt like that they had just kind of more of a future ahead of them, in which
Absolutely.
I think
there's that. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I'll say what I want to say after you finish. Sorry.
Yeah, you say with like a lot of coaches that money talks with like a lot of players when it comes to contract deals, but I feel like even if the Jets offered him more, like I think Vrabel looks at that situation and say, hey, not a knock on the Jets, but I play for this specific organization. I think pretty much our culture is bright. We already have our quarterback. The Jets don't even know what their quarterback situation is right now. So why would I go to a situation that's very unconfirmed with our quarterback situation? Because I think that for a lot of coaches, they really want that kind of coming into their coaching tenure. So there was just a lot of different elements where I think Kraft also too was just, there's a lot of people that feel that Kraft was almost at maybe like the end after the Brady Bill situation era. And, credit to Kraft too, for doing this, making this hire, quickly as it could have been, because I think, Grant, you said earlier on the season that you expected Drake Maye maybe coming back for another year, which I think a lot of people that could have seen that happen. But I do think that, this is a storied type of franchise that, and I'm not going to not see here or not act spoiled or not, but it's a storied franchise that has seen a lot of winning, and they do not want to keep tolerating this for the fan base for the foreseeable future. So I think Vrabel coming in is a great hire that we've had, and I'm very excited to see in terms of what he can do for his first ever Super Bowl tenure as a coach and not as a Patriots player.
Well, what I was going to say, Ben, was, I don't expect like a huge downfall. I don't think he's going to go from, 17 wins to 7. I think he might go from, 17 to 12, and then probably 14, maybe,
So great, given what our schedule looks like next year too.
Yeah, depending on the strength of schedule. I mean, which I'm a little mad right now because, the Bears had the hardest schedule, this year and still won 12 games, and they have the strongest schedule again next year, which is total crap. But, I want to see what Ben Johnson and, this coaching staff and the hopefully improved defense can do, next year. But I think that Vrabel will go from, a 17-win team to, probably a 12 in the regular season to, 14 or 15 next year, which still great.
And another thing you got to take into consideration is, what does the AFC East future look like when it comes to a lot of these teams? The Jets, obviously, this is not a knock on the Jets, but
No, go ahead. Knock on the Jets. Knock on the Jets. I want to see
we have some Jet fans on this panel, but
I want to see if Nick comments what you say. If he,
I mean, he's been real with it too. When I've obviously bashed the Jets sometime, but like the Jets, they don't know what their future is. So
Yeah.
No, they don't.
And like this is not me becoming as a hater per se. It's the honest truth. They don't know what their future situation is. So they're probably going to have a season this year, honestly, that they probably just want to try to have the lowest draft pick or honestly the highest draft pick as possible, because there might be the quarterback, draft class this year, to be honest, isn't as great.
God, no.
It's not as great as what it's going to be in 2027. That's for dang sure.
So I think that the Jets are probably looking at this as, I'm not saying as a Raiders-esque type of season for them next year, but I do think it could be very, very close. To just take exception to the fact is like, listen, like, it's just not going to, you're going to have to kind of wait it out, and hopefully by next year after you can get a guy like Arch Manning or something like that.
And I'm going to say this, there is a total argument where you could see Aaron Glenn be fired after this year because of how bad he's been.
I have to respectfully disagree to that, because
really,
yes, I don't know if he's the perfect guy for them, but you also have to take a look at the actual roster that he has. And I think that the roster that the Jets have, I don't think is a ready to win type of roster. So it's almost like I'm trying to think of like the best term for it. It's almost like trying to put a puzzle all together, and it's just like, man, like every single time I try to finish that completed puzzle, there's always a couple of pieces that I looked at and just like, man, it's just not going to happen, right? And I think that Aaron Glenn is at a situation like that, and I think they obviously fired their offensive coordinator this offseason.
He fired most of their staff, actually.
Yeah, so I think that they do trust him. I mean, for my sake of things, I don't think he's the guy. And this is not a knock. I do think that there are better situations out there. But I do want to be fair to them. And I do think that, hopefully maybe if they get a younger type of quarterback, a higher draft pick, I definitely would like to kind of see that kind of come into fruition before I kind of make my case of, he has to get fired.
That's fair. It's just, if here's my thing with your argument that the Jets want to have the highest possible draft pick they can. With Aaron Glenn being a defensive-minded head coach, unless you are a Mike Vrabel who's able to bring in a guy like Josh McDaniel, the greatest offensive coordinator you could easily bring in for your partner in crime on your coaching staff, I guess. My thing for that is, I wouldn't say that, if I was the quarterback that next year that the Jets are going to draft, I wouldn't necessarily be that excited to go to a guy like Aaron Glenn as your head coach with a questionable, play caller and, QB developer, whoever that may be. It might be Frank Reich or it might be someone else, depending on how Frank Reich goes next year.
Yeah, I think that Reich is definitely an interesting hire. I honestly think, and this is going to be actually a Jets-Pats comparison to this situation when it comes to the Jets trying to find their next guy, is when the Patriots were kind of with like Mac Jones and Jacoby Brissett, where they kind of have like maybe pick. I mean, Mac is obviously was a first round of a pick, but like maybe pick like a third round late draft pick this year at quarterback, maybe with a guy like the kid maybe from Vanderbilt. I don't know if he's going to go that far, or maybe a guy like Carson Beck, and then kind of have a quarterback competition. There's a lot of guys out there, for the Jets that they can maybe go for. Apparently Joe Flacco maybe wants to come back into playing. I mean, that's obviously not the most sexy pick, but he's a perfect guy to have as a backup. Look at him with the Bengals. There's a lot of guys like that. Jacoby Brissett is another guy I think that they could take a look at, who is obviously not very sexy. But for the Jets, I do think it's not about trying to get wins next year. It's about trying to bring a winning type of culture to that organization, in which they just have not had in honestly most of their overall decades. So,
Oh, sure.
so in terms of that, I mean, I'm kind of looking at the overall part aspects of the division. The Dolphins are definitely rebuilding. They definitely are in a massive situation where they have to figure out what happens to Tua. And I think that Tua is going to be, they're going to have to take all that dead cap and money. And I don't know what happens to Tua next.
Yeah.
What the situation holds, but I do think that they're going to probably, I'm not saying have a Jets situation at quarterback. I think they're going to have a little bit more of a term, at least for this year.
Yes.
I think a guy like Quinn Ewers did some promise with them at the end of this year.
I could give you a name for the Dolphins.
Who would that be?
You're done. Well, okay. So both of the higher up men were came from the Packers, and Malik Willis is a free agent.
Yep.
And the Dolphins just seem like a good fit for him in terms of going to an organization that has had a coach that he has worked with, or had a GM that he, did possibly know. I don't know how well, players know the people in the front office, but I think that Malik Willis might be like a dark horse candidate for like a bridge quarterback for them this year.
I think that's a perfect actual guy to have, because I think if you're going to get a quarterback that's a bridge type of guy, you want to go younger. And then maybe, if you get a guy like Flacco or an older type of guy, make him a backup to kind of learn from maybe the young guy as the guy, go with that. But the Dolphins, they're definitely going to probably move on from Tyreek Hill. I mean, I think that honeymoon has definitely been over.
I mean, he looked happy when he got injured, so that's kind of
yeah, that was a little awkward.
I think it's kind of more of like the error person, the standpoint. Like they look at the situation and been like, hey, like, guy like Jalen Waddle, he could have been traded this past trade deadline. Tyreek Hill, a lot of that old regime, eventually you kind of have to make some tough decisions. And I just don't think that either of those two guys, as great as both of those guys are, I think that they are going to probably move on to different teams. Definitely Jalen Waddle. I mean, I know, of course, a team like the Buffalo Bills or a team, I don't think it would happen in division, but like a team like the Broncos for Jalen Waddle, I think would be an awesome fit, especially for like a younger type of team, maybe another explosive guy for Bo. But the Dolphins, I mean, Bradley Chubb is another guy out there. They actually moved on from Jalen Phillips this past trade deadline. So, like, a lot of the guys that you kind of heard like rumors about maybe moving on from the trade deadline this past year for the Dolphins, I do think a lot more this offseason. It's going to be a brand new, like, you kind of have to start from scratch, because if the Dolphins essentially keep pretty much run back the same exact type of team that they have this upcoming next year, you're going to pretty much be a 500 type of team. It's just going to be pretty much that. And it's not a knock on Halfley. I just don't know if Halfley has – I mean, who's their offensive coordinator right now? I don't even know.
Bobby Slowick is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins.
Okay. I mean, he's not a bad offensive mind, but who are you going to bring in? And has he had an experience with a guy like Bobby Slowick? That's another big thing. Because if you have a guy that, knows the system, like a guy like Josh, right? Of course, a guy that, bringing back Daniels, I think was a home run hire, because, of course, he knows the system. And, of course, you can work with somebody like Drake, who's a younger type of guy who has a lot of high ceiling. The Dolphins, I think, to me, the Jets, I think, are going to win probably best like 5 wins next year. The Dolphins probably being
I'd say the Jets 5 or 6.
Yeah. And then the Dolphins, I'm probably going to say like 6 to 7. It's going to be kind of like Pat. I mean, sorry, I don't want to go.
No, that in that situation, that is like the perfect,
I kind of right into it, but yeah. And I just think that it's really going to be the Pats and the Bills division for years to come. And
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's going to kind of remind me of the old days, honestly, with Brady, and which
It's going to be interesting to see how Joe Brady, does in his first year with the Bills as the head coach. Because, I mean, I'm going to say this. It feels like this was just a Josh Allen type of hire.
Oh yeah, no, he was saying in his season-ending presser. Yes, I do listen to season-ending pressers for other teams.
I listen to them too.
I am kind of a sick individual when it comes to that type of stuff. But Josh did make some good points. I think one of the things that he said was familiarity, and I think Joe Brady is a guy that I think is ready for the next challenge. The only thing that I do kind of worry about with Brady is I felt like this year with the offensive calling, and I don't know if it's going to change next year. We'll see what happens. I felt like there was a lot of times this year that they didn't let Josh Allen just throw it downfield, in which he's pretty much best suited for. A lot of the times it's more of the checkdowns or a lot of the screen type of passes, a lot of kind of I wouldn't say simplify more of the offense, but it was kind of more of the fact is like, dude, like you could be able to like air it out more if you had to. I mean, you have one of the best accurate deep ball passes in the game, and I don't know. Like I do think that it's going to be an interesting hire for them, but I will say is I do think the Patriots, given the fact that they have made it to the Super Bowl coming into next season, they're going to be definitely neck and neck when it comes to win totals. I wouldn't be shocked if probably their schedule will probably come either first or second. It's going to be neck and neck, though, to be honest. I mean, the Bills obviously have the better quarterback. This I'm not going to Drake, but of course, Josh has a lot more experience. But I got to have to take a look at what the Bills have in their offseason roster-wise. They definitely feel like they kind of seem to still have some guys that, do they bring in a guy? I mean, one of the names that I've been seeing for them is potentially Marvin Harrison Jr. If the Cardinals decide to kind of move on from some of their pieces, reportedly Kyler Murray was a guy that apparently they want to shop.
I feel like Kyler Murray is more of a legitimate shot because I don't know how often it is where you actually move on from someone on their rookie contract.
Yeah, I mean, he has, though, to be fair. The Cardinals obviously don't know their situation at quarterback. There's probably a lot of their guys. Like, I mean, look at a guy like, I mean, I don't think he's going to be going anywhere because I feel like he's just so loyal to the team. But this is a guy that I feel like if he could just go somewhere else, I mean, he would just be so much better than he already is. And this guy's already legit. That's Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota.
Wow. I actually thought you were going to say someone else. I thought you were going to say Max Crosby.
Well, him too, but I'm just talking about from the offensive side.
From the offensive perspective, got it.
And I mean, the Bills, I think, have been really linked up to. They need to get a true bona fide number one receiver for Josh Allen. I think that's kind of the biggest thing, and the Patriots do too. To be frank, the Patriots this season really weren't kind of in a position to go this far. I mean, that's kind of what makes this overall team special is they've been able to kind of go this far to the Super Bowl with a second-year quarterback, pretty much playing in his first full year, with the brand new coach, obviously given, of course, it's an organization he's been with. And then in terms of the offensive playmakers, I mean, it's not a knock on a guy like Stephon Diggs, but Stephon Diggs was pretty much looked at as guy as watched this past offseason. And then a guy like Kayshon Boutte, who is a really good deep threat, of course, for the system, but Matt Collins, they're complementary receivers, but, you don't have a A.J. Brown or you don't have a Justin Jefferson and you don't have a I don't know, even like a guy like Eli McConkey, right? This receiving group is pretty much a group that's pretty much just been bought into what the system has. And I just think that's what makes it so amazing because they know that there's a lot more at stake down the road because they could be able to build now. It's now going to be another destination place to go back again because you see what you have at quarterback and you see what you have at coach. It's like a marriage, guys, right? It's like pretty much like, I see those people out there. I want to go attract to them, right? That's what in terms of what you can have when you build a winning culture organization and you have pretty much pieces ready to go for these potentially trade guys or a guy like, what the Bills are trying to do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all well said. Let's kind of come back full circle here and let's finish up the preview of this game. We're a couple hours away from kickoff now, Ben. Since you only been here for about 20 minutes, any reactions or surprises to what the spread still remains? Did you think it was going to change at all, or do you think that, or do you think that sort of what we had on Friday, given that it's now Sunday, and with it kind of pretty much remaining the same, how do you sort of feel about that?
I think it's a perfect spread line right here. Seattle, I think, has just been better than us. And that's obviously a knock on this team, but I think that Seattle is playing in a much tougher conference. They just had a massive win against the MVP and Matt Stafford. I mean, that Rams team, I feel like if the Rams ended up beating the Seahawks and we played the Rams, the spread line might have been kind of more towards 7.5, and maybe it's just because of the quarterback. This is not a knock on Sam Darnold, but Matt Stafford obviously has been in this Super Bowl situation before, and of course their playmakers on the outside are just second to none. So I do think, we do kind of able to kind of move away from the Rams, because I'm still scared about today no matter what. But the Rams, I really would have had like no faith at all. I mean, not saying no faith at all, but like they just have too many offensive pieces that it's just so hard to kind of go neck and neck. But the Seahawks probably have arguably the best player whole season offensively. That's JSN. I mean, JSN has basically, you take away JSN from that offense, and I think it's a very average type of offense. But
it's an average offense that, to me, I'm just going to say this: I don't think they go to the NFC Championship if it isn't for him.
Well, I don't know if like they can make it there, but I definitely think their path to trying to win is a lot tougher. Seattle has a very, very tough defense, and that is one thing. Is defense. You look at what the Patriots have had, in the postseason, is they haven't really had that breakout offensive game, unfortunately, like they have pretty much had all regular season. That of course can happen today. It does obviously help a lot when you have, warmer climate conditions, and of course if the offense doesn't show up today for us, and there's nobody we can blame but ourselves. But also Seattle's defense is just that legit, that good.
Right, exactly.
Both sides of things, and Mike Macdonald, it's kind of similar like to the Patriots with Mike Vrabel, is he's built another situation as an organization, right? That kind of was in a thing of limbo the last couple of years, obviously after moving on from Russ. And they were kind of like us in a way. I mean, obviously they don't have a lot of the hardware that we have, but a lot of, of course it's not from you guys, but there's a lot of people, at least on social media, kind of around in terms of like they really just kind of know what to make out of the Super Bowl matchup, because it's like they're like, well, maybe like we've kind of seen this before, and which of course we have. And I don't know if people obviously want to see change and not rematches or this and that. I mean, look at Chiefs Eagles, of course that's happened a couple times recently. So and maybe it's too because of the fatigue factor, right? Obviously Grant, you're saying on the forecast about the Patriots fatigue, making the Super Bowl, which I understand, right? Because if I was a Patriot fan, I'd probably feel the same way. I was like that with LeBron and the Cavs. Beating the Celtics so many years in the playoffs. I mean, I definitely know how the overall feeling of it. But yeah, in terms of going back to this question, because I've kind of gone a little bit off the rail, but Seattle definitely 4.5. Zan, I do think is the right overall spread line here. Okay. But I also think that it's going to be a close game. And I said this on forecast on Friday. I said that if this game is close at the end, I truly have faith that this Patriots team can get it done, because they've been in this situation before. However, the Seahawks have been in this situation also. But I do think that the Seahawks, if they get ahead and they play their style of play, this is the biggest thing I look at in terms of this overall matchup, is Seattle's a very rhythm-esque type of offense. When they're pretty much playing at their best, basically, guys, they're one of the best offenses that is third and short manageable, right? So they basically, if the Patriots aren't able to get them off the field, which of course could be happening a lot, because of course the Seattle has just a very good offense. They're playing at an all-time high right now. But I don't know if you guys know this, but Seattle is actually one of the worst offenses when it's third and long. And I think for the Patriots, their keys are being able, hopefully the defense is hopefully able to win first and second downs. They have to be able to get Sam Darnold and that offense into uncomfortable situations. Because if they pretty much are playing on their real terms, I don't unfortunately see us winning this game. I just don't, because the defense is really kind of our backbone right now, and it just puts a lot more pressure on our offense to score more points than honestly it could be. I mean, I think I said this, that if the Seahawks win more, the Seahawks have 25 points or more, it's not a knock on the Patriots, but Seattle just has that dominant of a defense in which if they can play on their terms offensively and defensively, it's going to be hard for us. So defensively, we're going to have to get Sam Darnold into uncomfortable situations, which, of course, we've done in the past, but it's been the ghost era. And this is a brand new different type of quarterback now. This is a quarterback that's playing at a really good level right now. He has a lot more weapons than what he's had in the past, too. No offense to the Jets, no offense to what he's had in the past. But he has JSN, Cooper Kupp, Kenneth Walker. He doesn't even have Zach Charbonnet. If they even had Zach Charbonnet, I mean, my goodness, this offense is loaded. And it also went toe-to-toe with arguably the best offense in the league last week at the Rams. So the Pats are going to have, whether it's a punt return for a touchdown, maybe a pick six, maybe you get a fumble, they're going to have to put Sam Darnold in uncomfortable situations and to win the line of scrimmage. It's simple as that. And, I mean, for Drake Maye, too. Drake, I think, has to have a good game. And I can't really fault him if it's like a Tom Brady 505 yards against the Eagles, loses, so be it, right? It's just because one of our defense didn't do the job, right? So
sure,
it'll be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. My emotions right now, like I just look at this overall field of it's my first times. I mean, 01, I was born in 96, so 01 obviously wasn't with 01 obviously had Brady and Belichick, but it was my first ever time seeing my team in a Super Bowl without kind of the pillars from the dynasty. So
wait. You actually watched the Super Bowl at 5 years old, and you remember watching it?
I do. I mean, I don't know every member of it, but I don't obviously remember the Adam Terry heroics and stuff. Yeah, and of course, in terms
was that the Snow Bowl? Was that the Snow Bowl?
It wasn't the Snow Bowl. It was the one against the Rams where Vinatieri had 2 kicks to win it for us in the Super Bowl.
Well, in defense of Grant, I think he means that happened in the same postseason, though. So,
yeah, the Tuck Rule game in which my dad was at. So I know even more because my dad was at one of the most memorable games in the franchise dynasty era. So.
Oh, no, the Snow Bowl was happening against the Eagles. I remember that.
Yeah. So, and another thing, too, that the Patriots feel like they've been doing the Super Bowl is they've had a lot of rematches. they have a rematch now today with the Seahawks. They've had a rematch twice with the Giants. Unfortunately, Giant fans, of course, have had our number. I can't sit here and not deny that. Eagles, we faced twice. We're 1-1. Currently, right now, we're 1-0 against Seattle, even though I don't remember what the spread line was from the Legion of Boom game that we had against them in Arizona, but I think it was a lot closer than what the spread line is here. It was definitely very similar, but I think that Seattle definitely they didn't have the type of offense that they have this year. Seattle, one thing about Seattle, though, I am curious about is they don't throw a lot of 50-50 balls, personally. I think it's kind of more of I call it a racetrack offense. A team that just wants to build.
Honestly, that's often categorized as the air raid offense.
Ben, by the way, the final spread a decade ago when these two teams played was around New England minus 1.5 to 2 was the final spread.
So
it opened as Seattle as the favorite, and then it switched.
Well, I think remember why it switched, because Cam Chancellor was hurt.
That's right. Yeah.
He was hurt midway through that Super Bowl week. They were obviously talking about that, but
fun fact: Nick Aminwari, it is going to play, but he did sustain an injury this week.
Yeah, he's obviously a massive problem for us tonight. And one thing, I was listening to a pregame show this morning. I listened to a Boston's Sunday radio show, and I'm at work. And they were talking about this guy in which he is a hybrid type of guy that pretty much can come at the line of scrimmage, basically be looked at as a linebacker, essentially in different situations. And kind of now going into, the offensive side of things for us to win this game, the Patriots are going to have to find a way to run the football. And it's going to be tough because Seattle has such a tough run, very similar to what they've been facing, though, in the last couple of weeks. And I think that, the Patriots, if they kind of make a statement early, maybe it kind of opens eyes a little bit from Seattle side of things. There was a Boston reporter that I saw, and of course, you don't know if this is going to translate to the game, but he was saying when he was at Radio Row, of course, you guys know Radio Row from the Super Bowl, he apparently was saying that the mantra of how the players are feeling like from the week is he thinks he's seen that the Patriots players are kind of more bought in terms of a laser locked in focus. And he went to Seattle's press conferences throughout the week, and he basically was kind of saying they were kind of more of laid back. And maybe it's because of the fact of that's kind of the way they are, and that's kind of the way they prepare. And of course, that's fine. If it's led to the winning for them. But I just found that very, very interesting because sometimes you have teams like that, and maybe it kind of translates maybe to today where it's a lot more locked in. I mean, heck, it's Super Bowl day, so of course you have to kind of go for it. But I just thought that was really, really interesting because, the two teams, when it happens to be the Super Bowl, usually have different type of ways that they kind of prepare. And I think that's kind of one thing to kind of look at for this game is, how do the Patriots prepare early? And I think that you have to find a way to have a balance in your offense, and you got to get some turnovers. You have to, because I know most of us on the panel said that Seattle was going to win, and I'm 100% okay with that. I'm not going to sit here and not discredit that. But I will say is if the Seahawks score more than 25 points, we don't cause any turnovers, and JSN has an absolute field day. Honestly, I think if he has a field day, saying all game, but if he has a really best field day in the first half, if we're able to kind of keep him at kind of at bay after the first half, I feel okay. But if he's taken over the game early on and often, which he's done a lot this year, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but it was just me and Zan here earlier. We went over the conference championship games, and I mentioned that Jackson Smith-Njigba had 10 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown. I did say I don't think that he gets that stat line, but I do think that he can get a touchdown or two. And who knows, maybe he does put up a stat line like this. And I'm going to say it, if he puts up a stat line like this, I don't think you guys are winning.
Yeah, he is that big of a difference maker. If he puts that up, it's because we didn't prepare well enough for him. And if we prepare enough well for him and he does it, so be it. He's that good of a player, but we got to make them feel uncomfortable in their offense. We got to pretty much kind of I'm not going to say punch him in the mouth, but kind of have that like underdog, mentality. Like you kind of have to just let it all out.
I would argue that both of these teams, to be quite honest with you, were underdogs just because of how unlikely the Super Bowl was at the beginning of the season. So, I think both of these teams are playing with a chip on their shoulder a little bit, regardless of what the line in Vegas says. Literally, that's what I think.
True, I do agree with that. In terms of the big picture, but in terms of the short term right now, like people from the outside when it comes to the Patriots, they still don't kind of see what this team is like. I think from the outside of things, people are like, okay, like Seattle, they just went through and beat the MVP. Like, there's a reason why most people are picking against us. And of course, that's understandable because of that. They're playing in a tougher conference. They have the best player, obviously, on the field. So I think for the longer picture, Zan, you're right. But I think for this overall type of game in which you look at the actual talent and in terms of what the overall media is saying, is I think that the Patriots want to make an overall statement and saying, like, we don't want to be pushed around. We're here for a certain reason. We've heard the outside noise, but we're not going to bring it to them. And we're going to want to do what we can to stay in this game and pretty much make a statement to the league that, like, we're here for a reason.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps up New England's keys to victory. Now let's talk about the other side for Seattle. We've already mentioned JSN a couple of times. Are there any other keys that you guys see besides the obvious here that will lead Seattle to a potential win in this game, because I just think overall, if their talent gets out in space, offensively, I think they're going to do really, really well. And I just think overall, right now, I think they carry more of the momentum offensively than New England does. And I think if it becomes a shootout, Seattle wins the Super Bowl. So, what do you guys think are the major keys for the Seahawks?
You know, I mean, I think that deep passes will be crucial, but also I'm gonna say this. I think if Kenneth Walker can get going, I think that's going to be something that the Patriots don't expect, because of the fact that they're so good at usually stopping, the run. And if somehow Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak can scheme up a run game that can counteract the Patriots, powerhouse of a defensive line, I think if they can, show that they have the ability to adapt to any type of defense for a run game, I think that's going to be something that the Patriots don't expect.
Right. That is for sure. And I don't think I really have much else to add to that. So for the final 40 or so minutes of this stream or so, we're going to do something a little bit more fun. We're going to go over what we think if we were to do this, what are the best bets of the entire evening. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, and you guys tell me whether you guys think these are interesting bets or not, because I think some people have a chance to cash huge on a game like this because of the star power that both of these teams have. So here are a few that I guess we could go over. So let's start on the Seattle side. According to DraftKings, Kenneth Walker is minus 185 for an anytime touchdown scorer. Do you guys think that hits, or do you guys think that misses? What do you guys think?
I'll go first. I think it hits. I think that Seattle, what their game plan is going to be, is to attack our edges. That is one of our weaknesses. However, Kenneth Walker, if you actually look at his overall offensive tape, he's not as good as in between tackles, and that's where the Patriots are best suited for. So if he wants to go in between tackles, I think the Patriots are more built for that. But I do think if Seattle is ahead and they want to kind of play their overall game, I think that they're going to run the football more at will on us, because they know for a fact that we're not stopping it. So I think it's going to hit.
I think it's going to hit. I think it's going to hit, and I'm gonna even go into a little bit deeper on this. If the Seahawks are at the 1 yard line, run the ball. I'm sorry for anyone that might be listening with headphones on, including Zan. Sorry about that.
No, you didn't scare me. It's all good.
But if I did scare anyone, anyone that is wondering why I said that so emphatically is because you probably know the last time that the Seahawks and Patriots were in the Super Bowl together, there was a terrible play at the 1 yard line that sealed the deal for another Patriots Super Bowl. And, we were all, every Seahawks fan in that instance was including the people that aren't normally rooting for the Seahawks, but are, so used to rooting against the Patriots because they've been in so many countless Super Bowls. Everyone had their jaw on the ground because they passed the ball on the 1 yard line when they had Marshawn Lynch. So my advice to Clint Kubiak and Mike Macdonald, if you get to the 1 yard line, run the ball. And if that's how the Kenneth Walker touchdown hits, that is just going to be like the perfect type of hit for that. I'm sorry. But what's the next one?
Yeah, so there's a couple more we could go over here. JSN, anytime touchdown scorer, minus 105 to score the first touchdown in the Super Bowl is plus 550. Do you guys like the juice, or do you guys like the conservative approach of him just scoring a touchdown at any point in the game?
I'm gonna go. You go first, Grant.
If I'm being honest, it depends on the coin toss in that situation. But in my personal choice between the two, I would probably go the conservative route and just imagine that JSN scores a touchdown at some point, because you never know with the score. I mean, the line for this game is set at 45.5. There's a total argument where you make an argument that that line is gonna skyrocket over, or you could say that there's a total argument where that under hits.
Oh, by the way, if you parlay both anytime touchdown scores together, JSN and Kenneth Walker the third, your payout would be $302.
Wow.
So,
That's something.
that's from DraftKings.
Yes. All of these are DraftKings. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, a few others offensively that I want to go over. Ramondre Stevenson, anytime touchdown scorer at plus 150 to score the first touchdown of the Super Bowl would be plus 850, which I think is a bargain. I thought that would be a lot higher. What do you guys think about both of those potential possibilities?
Since it's a Patriot, I'll let Ben go first.
I'm going to go conservative. I do think he finds the end zone. I don't think he's going to have a lot of rushing yards, though. I think that the Patriots are
that's fair.
I think that the Patriots are going to unfortunately going to have a really hard time running the football. I'd be very, very shocked if I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm wrong, because I'm a fan of the team. But I do think he'll find the end zone, because I think there'll be like a situation where the Patriots are going to be on the 2 1-yard line, and they will run the football.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be the first one, unfortunately.
Sure. A couple others offensively. Cooper Kupp, anytime touchdown scorer at plus 255. Score the first touchdown, though, is plus 1,300. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Grant.
Cooper Kupp. Well, the last time that he was in a Super Bowl, he did score a touchdown. So I think it would be cool for him to score a touchdown, honestly. I think that'd be cool. And what's the number? What's the number, Zan? Sorry.
Let's see here. So Cooper Kupp is plus 255 as an anytime touchdown scorer, and plus 1,200 to score the first touchdown of the game.
I would probably take the plus 255 for anytime touchdown.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if he'd be the first touchdown. I feel like JSN would have a better chance at being the first touchdown.
Okay, so this is where some of them get unbelievable, so don't laugh too hard. Okay, DeMario Douglas for New England in first touchdown scorer, which would be unbelievable, would be plus 3,500. Anytime touchdown scorer would be plus 750. Ben, I know the probability on that is pretty low, but is someone gonna cash a crazy amount tonight, or is someone gonna have to take an L knowing that DeMario Douglas did not score in the Super Bowl?
I think someone else is going to take an L, and I like Pop a lot.
I agree with Ben. Someone's going to have to take an L.
But I just don't know how much Pop's going to really play. I mean, he's a really good guy against man coverage. I feel like that Seattle does run a lot of man coverage, but he, to me, is not really a touchdown scorer. He's kind of more of a yards after the catch type of guy, and it's kind of really hard to bank on a touchdown score as a yards after the catch type of guy, when he just – I just don't know with him. I think he's going to have his moments to have some big plays tonight, but I don't think he's going to find the end zone.
Okay, and then Sam Darnold, anytime touchdown scorer, plus 850 to score the first touchdown of the game, and it would have to be a rushing touchdown. It can't be a passing touchdown for this.
So anytime touchdown for a quarterback just always means rushing, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that number is plus 3,500.
No, Sam Darnold is
he's not a rusher. He's not a rusher.
I mean, I hope he runs a lot, because that means that we're doing really well in coverage, and he either has to find a check down or he's just running for his life, and that's not his game. So I did not say that as one of my keys to the game, but if you make Sam Darnold run for his life and make his life completely hell and miserable, we could be Super Bowl champions tonight. I just don't see it in terms of him running for his life, but he's not going to be finding that. He's not. I mean, heck, I could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to be finding the end zone on his legs. I just don't.
Okay, now let's move over to some MVPs now. Sam Darnold listed at plus 120. Drake Maye listed at plus 240. Which one do you guys think is more than likely to happen tonight?
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold.
I think so too.
Come on. Say it.
Screw it, Drake Maye. It's my team.
That's what we expected you to say. So,
all right, some other potential MVP possibilities. JSN at plus 500. Kenneth Walker III at plus 850. Ramondre Stevenson at plus 2,800. Rashid Shaheed at plus 3,000. And then there's a couple others that are just unbelievable. Devin Witherspoon at plus 1,000. Leonard Williams at plus 1,000. Drew Lock at plus 9,000, which would take a lot to have happen there. Then because
Sam Darnold would have to tear his ACL in the first play for that to happen.
Oh, for sure. Then there's a couple
let me come out and say this. Because I said that, I also need to say this. I do not want that to happen. I don't want Sam Darnold to tear his ACL. I just want, that's the one injury that I thought that could, make Drew Lock a possibility for a MVP for Super Bowl, which would be so funny. Lock as MVP. Like, think about that headline. That would be just so funny.
Wait. So what is it?
So he's saying that a possible headline if Drew Lock wins MVP is Lock as Super Bowl MVP, which would be so funny. I agree with that.
I think there's a better bet for me to win the coin toss or the Gatorade bath than for me to pick Drew Lock.
For sure. Let's take a look at some famous people's predictions now. LeBron James is a 3-leg parlay. His parlay is Seattle to win the Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs and JSN to score a touchdown at plus 800. $10 pays 90. How likely do we think that this may happen?
I'll take my unbiased of things out for a little bit of change. I'm going to say that's a pretty good bet. I mean, I think Seattle, unfortunately, is a better team that we're going against. I think Stephon Diggs has got to have a big game for the Patriots to move the football, and I think that he'll find the end zone tonight. At least I hope, and JSN will find the end zone.
For sure. Let's take a look at a few others before we get into some more fun stuff that is football related, but also isn't football related at the same time. And I'll get to what that is in just a little bit. Pardon my take as Drake Maye with over 30 plus passing attempts, AJ Barner with 25 plus receiving yards, and good old DeMarcus Lawrence to have 1 sack or more. What do we think about this bet? Plus 525, $10 pays out 62.
I don't think that hits. What was it? What was AJ Barner?
It was 25 plus receiving yards.
That's not a lot for a back.
That's only like 2 catches and one that goes semi-long. That's not.
That could be 1 catch. That could be a 30-yard touch or 30-yard catch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're gonna be taking a lot of stuff underneath, and I think that if he has catches, it's gonna be a lot in the flats, and we're gonna have to miss a lot of tackles. And I think our defense.
Well, missed tackles do happen in football. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. But I think with the way that I think we've done really, really well this postseason against tight ends. We haven't really had a guy that's completely crazy on us this postseason as a tight end. And granted, they haven't really been big time names, but I mean, Varner is more of a running first than a catching type of tight end. So
yeah, for sure.
But I don't see it.
Yeah, and then Katie Dolan also has a parlay, which I think might actually hit. It's the Roland with Dolan parlay. Seattle to win, Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown, and Kenneth Walker to have over 2.5 receptions. What do we think?
That sounds like it could hit. Yeah.
Kenneth Walker over 2 receptions and what?
And Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown, and Seattle to win the game.
I could see that. I don't think Cooper Kupp's scoring tonight. I don't.
Why not?
Why not?
Um,
That's kind of an interesting opinion there. I didn't expect you to say it.
I think with the way that we've had game plans in the past for Super Bowls is we tried to do what we can to eliminate a lot of the secondary type of guys, kind of more than the first type, more than the first guys, because the secondary guys, I think if you kind of take away them and kind of, I mean, it's you got to kind of pick your poison, and I think maybe the Patriots want to say, listen, Jason can kind of get all he wants as long as the other guys don't beat us. A guy like Raheem Shaheed is a deep guy threat. A guy like Cooper Kupp, of course, who's been a third down king recently. I think the Patriots are going to be able to get enough pressure in which the secondary is going to try to eliminate the secondary guys, and I think they'll do a good job tonight. But all it's going to come down to is JSN, and obviously he's going to have his because he's just that good of a player.
All right, Ben, this one's going to make you happy. It is officially Dave Portnoy's Super Bowl parlay. Have you seen this parlay yet, or is this breaking news to you? But I'm about to tell you.
Breaking news to me.
All right, so it's a 6-leg parlay. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Patriots to win the Super Bowl. Drake Maye with 2 or more passing touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson scored a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson with 60-plus rushing yards. Ramondre Stevenson with over 25-plus receiving yards. And Sam Darnold to throw at least 1 interception. All wrapped together, plus $3,000. $10 gets you $300. Or $310.
That's a lot. A lot. You're risking a lot on Ramondre Stevenson. I would feel more confident if you put that on Henderson.
I think so too.
I don't think that hits. And I love Ramondre Stevenson, but the Seattle has an exceptional good front. They don't miss a lot of tackles. They are a very, very stout defense. I think he's going to score, but I don't think that he's going to have a lot of explosive runs. At least during drives. I unfortunately just don't see that. So I don't see that. There was another one too that I didn't think was going to happen either. But Patriots obviously to win, it's a 50-50 shot, so of course it's very possible. And the alternate yards too, I think you said Zain 25?
Yes.
So that obviously could happen too. That definitely I think is very, very possible too. But definitely the other parts I don't see happening.
Okay, and then this one may make you happy. It's the Drake Maye parlay. It's Drake Maye 250-plus passing yards. Drake Maye over 2 passing touchdowns. Drake Maye 40-plus rushing yards, and Drake Maye over 20-plus completions.
I think it's not heading.
Wow.
I think it's 2 out of the 4. I believe that's going to be the case. What were the first 2 that you said?
First 2, Drake Maye over 250-plus passing yards, and Drake Maye over 2 passing touchdowns.
I don't think he's going to be able to have more than 2 touchdown passes in this game. I just don't see a situation. I'd love to be wrong, but the way that things are going in the playoffs right now recently, and I just don't think it's going to be throwing the ball crazy at will unless we're behind, which of course can definitely very well happen. But 2 touchdowns, I think it's going to be 2 touchdowns that he'll have. I don't think he's going to hit more than that.
Okay, and this next, and Grant, what do you think? Do you think it's hitting or no?
Can you say what the bet was again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. So going back a little bit here, the Drake Maye parlay was Drake Maye 250-plus passing yards, Drake Maye 2+ passing touchdowns, Drake Maye 40+ rushing yards, and Drake Maye over 20+ passing completions.
I think the 250 will hit, but you're asking a lot for stuff like 40 rushing yards. Well, actually, that might not be asking that much, but I just don't see every one of those hitting. If it does, whoever makes that bet, congratulations to you. But I just don't think that every one of those will hit.
All right, and then Mike Greenberg of ESPN has a parlay. His parlay is Sam Darnold 2+ passing touchdowns, JSN with over 7 receptions, and Ramondre Stevenson to have over 60 rushing yards. What do we think?
That seems reasonable. I think that's a reasonable bet.
And what I think is even more ridiculous, Grant, and I agree with you, is this parlay is plus 525. I think you're getting a bargain for this.
I think the bet that you just said is a very reasonable bet to place, and a very reasonable bet to think that'll hit. I think that'll hit.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how high the odds are for that, considering how logical that seems. There's an all wide receiver parlay that we haven't gotten to yet. These are very specific, though. They're all first quarter receptions. Okay,
Ooh.
so this parlay is at plus 490, $10 to win 59. JSN to have a catch in the first quarter, Stephon Diggs to have a catch in the first quarter, Cooper Kupp to have a catch in the first quarter, and Kayshon Boutte to have a catch in the first quarter.
You know, actually, that is not that difficult to happen.
No, it isn't, because you only need 2 possessions to make it happen.
Well, not only that, but you're talking about for each team, you're talking about like the top 2 targets.
Yeah, exactly.
For the team. So that could be maybe one of the easiest bets to place tonight.
Ben, what do you think?
Can you repeat it one more time?
Sure. So it's an all receiver parlay, and it's a first quarter one too. So it's JSN with 1 or more receptions in the first quarter, Diggs with 1 or more receptions, Kupp with 1 or more, and Boutte with 1 or more.
Yeah, I think that hits because, I mean, both teams, I think, use their guys receiving wise at all places. They spread the ball around, and I think you're asking only for 1 or 2 catches at max. I think definitely.
All right, 2 more parlays that we'll go over, and then we'll talk about some more fun stuff around the Super Bowl as well. So, Carissa Thompson has a 3-leg parlay, $10 to win 65. Drake Maye, 40-plus rushing yards. JSN to score a touchdown. And Kenneth Walker, this is a 2-parter, 90-plus rushing yards and combined receiving yards. So 90 yards total, however you want to divide that up, rushing yards and receiving yards or more for the entire game.
I like it. I think, JSN, I think, will definitely score 1. I definitely think Kenneth Walker will score. He might score 2. So if you take that into perspective, both catching and running, I think Seattle does win the Super Bowl, which I think is a very good possibility, unfortunately, for my side of things. But, yeah, I think a lot of that would hit.
What do you think, Rant?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of that will hit. One may not, but I don't know which one. It's kind of unpredictable which one won't if one doesn't hit. But I think you have a good likelihood of those hitting.
Fair enough. And that's a perfect segue to move on to something that's a little bit different than just what's on the field. So Super Bowl traditions. Just because I kind of don't know what you guys like to do on Super Bowl Sunday, I figured we could spend the next 15 or 20 minutes or so talking about that. So what do you guys like to do on Super Bowl Sunday? What are your traditions, superstitions? Where do you guys watch the Super Bowl? How many Super Bowls in a row have you guys seen? And different things like that. I actually have a hidden Super Bowl talent as well, which we'll get to in just a minute. But let's go over some traditions first, and then I will go last with my Super Bowl traditions.
Ooh. Well, for me, I have watched just about every Super Bowl that I can remember. Of course, the one Super Bowl that I would love to have watched that I cannot remember happened in 2006 when the Bears and the Colts played. The Bears ultimately lost in that situation, so I would have been sad anyway. But I would have loved to see the kick return actually happen on TV. But in terms of Super Bowl traditions, I'm in college right now, so the Beckwith floor, which is where I live, we always have a Super Bowl party. In terms of Super Bowl traditions,
hey, Hey, that makes two of us. That's where I used to live too, and I also remember those Super Bowl parties, so that makes two of us. So
In terms of Super Bowl traditions, I always get like some pizza or something, or this might get a little bit of hate, but I am not a Wingstop person for Super Bowl.
no, Nick Grant, there's no hate at all. You're not the only one.
Um, but like in terms of, I always wear. You guys can't see it, but I am wearing a Bears sweatshirt. It's not Super Bowl related because they're not in the Super Bowl, but I always gotta wear something football related on Super Bowl Sunday. You gotta wear football.
I have a Bears shirt underneath this quarter zips. That makes.
And I mean, you can see Ben's T-shirt. I mean, there's a
logo. This is my pregame fit. I'm gonna be wearing my lucky jersey when it comes to game day.
Oh, what's your lucky jersey?
My lucky jersey. You've probably seen it before. It's my throwback retro Tom Brady jersey. My red one.
Why is it? Of course, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah. It's been really lucky for me. I've done really well with it. And so I'm gonna ride with it and see what happens.
Question: when you've been wearing that, have they always won?
Yeah, I would have been the same question too.
Well, I haven't worn them for all of them. I do know that.
Okay, let me ask you: Did you wear it when they lost to the Giants?
No.
Okay, so maybe that's the reason why they lost.
I don't know. Every single Patriots Super Bowl though, I do wear something related to the team, whether it's a sweatshirt or something like that. But the Patriots this year, I've been wearing that. I wore the jersey last week for the AFC Championship game, and so I'm just gonna ride with it.
Cool. Yeah, my traditions have changed over the years. It used to be we were invited to a Super Bowl party almost every year. That used to be a thing.
Mine too. But
that used to be a thing when I was younger. I can tell you that from 2009 to 2012, we went to a Super Bowl party every year at a different person's house. That I remember.
Did you ever host?
No, we never hosted when we would always come. You'd always go over to people's houses though. Sit in their basement and watch the Super Bowl. And then he'd have like tons of food and we'd do Super Bowl squares and there'd be NFL themed plates and all that fun stuff. So
fun stuff.
Yeah. Then the last couple years, it's kind of funny. I've had a unique Super Bowl journey the last few years. Well, 2 years ago, I was in Arizona. I didn't go to the game itself, but I was there for Radio Row up until the day after the game. But we all watched it together, like near State Farm Stadium, which was cool. So I was at the site of the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but for the most part, I've just either been at home or in college. So it's been very unique the last several years of where I usually watch it. Traditions wise, not really much. Although, Ben, this might make you happy. I think I'm going to sync. I've gotten good at doing this. This is kind of a weird superstition. I'm not a TV announcer guy when it comes to certain just sports and whoever's playing. I like to sync the radio call. So there's a good chance that I'll probably sync Zolak tonight at some point.
Let's go.
So it's become one of my favorite hacks. You just fire up Sirius XM, you press pause, and then you wait for the stream to catch up, and then you hit play, and then the whole thing works as it's supposed to. So it's actually quite a unique method if you're tired of hearing the same boring TV announcers, which, no disrespect, the TV crew tonight is going to do a great job, but it's just nice to hear a different perspective. Same goes for the other radio broadcasters on Seattle's side as well. And then finally, the hidden talent I have is, if you guys want to test it on me, you can give me any Super Bowl number from any year from 66 until now, and I can tell you who won the Super Bowl.
I thought you were going to go most memorable.
Well, I was going to say that too. And I guess we could all go around and do that. My most memorable Super Bowl was the year that Pittsburgh beat Arizona in San Antonio.
Holmes touchdown. Awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? I think yours is quite obvious, but I don't
If
want
it's
to.
not the obvious one, there's something wrong with you, Ben.
I don't want to assume, but at the same time, I'm assuming. So I'll let you have your pick next, and then assuming I know what it is, I want to know where you were while this game was actually happening, because I'm sure your roller coaster of emotions was unbelievable. So
Yeah, it's 28-3. It's arguably the best comeback in Super Bowl history and era. Best game ever.
I personally think it's the greatest comeback in sports history. Period.
It's yeah. I mean, everything essentially. In terms of the story, I have actually a really awesome. You talk about superstitious with this story. I was in college, obviously, and I had a party with a bunch of my friends who I went to school up in Massachusetts with for this party, and it was also happened to be one of my good friends, who's one of my favorite friends of mine as a Patriot fan, his birthday. So he obviously, we were kind of celebrating that. We were kind of just celebrating the game in general. And we had a TV. We had like a little bit of, like a little small TV that I had in my room with two other my roommates, and of course everybody else kind of came from different other rooms. And we had one of my guys is a Giants fan, one of my good friends is a Giants fan. So of course we had him. We had a couple other guys, of course, that just wanted to come to hang out with us. Yeah. And I was on my bed, because essentially the TV is literally right next to my bed. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to watch it from my bed. And so I had it on, watching it from my bed, and I just kept looking, at the Falcons' first half. I looked at the pick six, and my face, I kid you not, was just a complete just this type of thing. Like a complete just stare down of what just happened. Like, I don't even care anymore type of thing. Like, it was what it was type of thing. It's over it. There's nothing you can do at this point. So I decided to say, okay, halftime happened. Lady Gaga's doing her thing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's probably not going to matter, but give it a shot. I decided to get off my bed and watch the second half on the floor, and so I put my ass down on the floor where everybody else was watching from wherever their seats. We had a bunch of chairs and stuff in the room we had, and I decided to watch from the floor. And the Patriots had one of their best drives in the second half. Ironic enough, when I started on the floor, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, all right, it's probably not going to still mean anything. It's still really, really a tall task, but they're going to hopefully maybe see if they can make a fight. And I just remember one of my friends saying, listen, you're not getting back on that bed. And I said, I know. I said, I'll stay here. I'm not going to move. And the Patriots kept going more and more and more. And they just kept reminding me this, saying, listen, you're not getting back on this bed. And I remember just the matter of the fact is the emotions for me when the comeback was starting to happen. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I told my buddies, I said, if we win this coin toss in overtime, I said, we're going down and we're winning this game. Like, basically, when we tie that game up, I felt the most confident that I did out of the whole entire night. And I'm like, this could be going down as honestly one of the best sports nights of my life if they make this comeback happen. And I remember when James White got the toss, and my buddy and I were just kind of next to each other. And when he got into the end zone for the touchdown, I could you not, I basically kind of blacked out, like on the floor in excitement. I had a couple of my Patriot fans basically tackling me on my back as we were just going.
That's awesome.
And we basically were just in complete jubilation, and it was just a memory we couldn't forget. And then, of course, the parade obviously happened throughout the week. And I actually went to school right next to the train station to go to Boston. So I theoretically could have went to the train station, took the train into Boston to go to this parade. And silly me is where my apartment is right next to the train station. I was walking to class, and of course I have to go over this bridge where the train station kind of is. Next to it is I can kind of see in terms of if anybody was going to this parade. And so I'm going over this bridge, and I look to my right down in terms of, people, of course, waiting for the train station. and it was a sea load of Patriots fans. Well, I'm essentially walking straight to class, to my campus, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's probably nobody that's going to be at class. I'm like, I bet everybody's just at that parade, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, wow, like this.
What did I do?
Yeah. But in terms of my actual Super Bowl predictions, so that's obviously my favorite Super Bowl. And in terms of my traditions,
So just to clarify, have you ever been to a Patriots victory parade before?
I wanted to. I've been to a Red Sox victory parade. There has been a lot of them on the city that I support. So you have to kind of be, situational with who you what team you ask for.
Okay, got you. Okay.
But I did go to the Red Sox one when they beat the Dodgers in 2018. I was at that victory parade, and that was extremely special. That was very, very awesome. And if they win tonight, I'll definitely, depending on what the day is, I'll definitely consider it, but we'll have to see what happens. The Super Bowl traditions is if my team is in it, I'll do whatever. Like, I'll just go full goals. The last couple of years, I just sat back and, kind of had snacks, just kind of, it was very, just relaxing, right?
Mellow, very mellow.
Okay, so in the room that you're in right now, is that where you'll watch it, or will you watch it upstairs?
Oh, man. When my team is in it, it's definitely different. I do think that I've watched the games a lot this season with my brother and my dad, and we've had really, really good luck. So I'm just gonna watch it with them and hope for the best.
No, I'm saying what room specifically would you watch it in? Is it the room you're recording in right now, or is it a different room?
Oh, it's gonna be a different room. No, I usually don't watch a lot of my teams down here. I usually watch it mostly on my flat screen that I have upstairs.
Oh, okay. Grant, since you're still in college, I guess what is or has been your favorite Super Bowl tradition?
So Super Bowl tradition,
and because I've been out of your neck of the woods for a few years, how has the Super Bowl party evolved since I last partook in it?
Well, that depends. Evolving. I don't really know if it's evolved because it's been in the same place that you had your Super Bowl party, and I'm positive that people brought snacks to snack on throughout the game, and and ordered and the admin cater whatever they want, or whatever is voted on. But in terms of Super Bowl traditions, for me, it's just watch with the dorm. My favorite Super Bowl, and I hate to say this because I love the quarterback that lost in the Super Bowl, but my favorite Super Bowl was whatever Super Bowl where the Broncos only scored 8 points.
So that was Super Bowl 48 between Seattle and Denver.
Seattle and didn't the Seahawks score like 40?
43-8. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Wait, was that the year that there was a huge snowstorm in Illinois?
Yes, and that was the year that they played it in New York.
That is why it's my favorite Super Bowl, because I had the day off after the Super Bowl. Because little truth coming out here. The past couple of years, I have always taken the next day after the Super Bowl off from class, just because I've been so excited. But I have Spanish tomorrow, and I can't skip Spanish, so I got to go to class tomorrow.
I think I've been lucky enough, Grant, that when I was in school, my classes were either late or I didn't have class the next day. There was 1 year for sure where I had no class the day after the Super Bowl, and I don't remember what year it was, but for sure there was 1 year that I literally experienced that reality.
I think, guys. And I want to ask you guys this, and I think this is a very, very easy answer to have.
Okay.
But I think for people that don't like sports or very not big sports fans like we kind of are,
which by the way is totally fine. I actually know a select few people who don't like sports, but teach their own.
Yeah, but do you guys think the day after the Super Bowl?
Yes,
I don't even need to finish the sentence. You don't even need to finish the sentence. The day after the Super Bowl should turn into a national day off holiday.
Well, you might get your wish at least for 1 year, because next year the Super Bowl is going to be relying on the weekend of President's Day. So I think most people the day after the Super Bowl, which is going to be on the 14th, it's going to be on Valentine's Day, because I think Valentine's Day is going to be on a Sunday next year.
Yes,
Um,
correct. Yep.
for people that like Valentine's Day next year, you're going to have one hell of a valent. I mean, just imagine, to be fair, if your significant other's favorite football team was playing on Valentine's Day next year, and you essentially are like, my dear, I want to go out for a bite to eat, and you're like, no, I want to watch my team win a Super Bowl. And of course, if your team loses, it feels like your dog died or something. Like,
Right, exactly.
Yeah. What you'll need to say to your significant other if you do agree to go out, you basically need to say, okay, we need to go to a bar, so buy a TV. I mean, that's basically
probably. That's
or
very
you might
well
have to,
said.
if it's you're gonna have to do like a brunch, like a Sunday, like Valentine's brunch before.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Or another thing is, because it's a long weekend, celebrate Valentine's Day the night before.
Celebrate Saturday and have Sunday.
Or Friday night.
Yeah,
Friday night is also a popular night to go out too.
Don't make it the actual day of the Super Bowl. Thing about Valentine's Day next year, it's actually not the day of Valentine's Day to celebrate. That
100%.
makes sense.
It's funny. It's funny. One of my assistants, her boyfriend and hers anniversary is today. And you would usually think that the guy is the one that wants to watch the game. My assistant, who is a girl, is the one that wants to watch the game. And the boyfriend is like, no, I want to go out for our anniversary, which is, I first of all, let me say this. I mean, I am all for a romantic like that, but I mean,
that's an answer I would have not expected either, Grant, to be fair.
I mean, there are a few, but I don't know many girls that say, I want to watch the Super Bowl. Like, when it comes to girls, I'm used to hearing, I want to watch the halftime show or the commercials or the pregame or something like that.
You know what I was thinking, guys, is if our network ever had the chance to get out together, I mean, this of course would be a massive coordination, but if we all got the chance to get to the Super Bowl experience in a certain city, I mean, that would be absolutely.
The only way I'd be there if it was in Chicago, which will never happen in my lifetime, because we have a terrible stadium. Well, no, we don't have a terrible stadium, because where I sat for the Bears and Saints game was phenomenal, but it just wouldn't happen.
What do you think, Michael?
If the game was in,
Grant, as one of your close friends, what do you think Michael would be doing today on Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, yeah, I was going to say to you about your Super Bowl idea, Ben. The way I could do it is if the game was either in like Indy, or if I needed a vacation, I could go to like Vegas or something like that. But those would be my two possibilities.
In terms of what Michael's doing, he tends to watch football games with his friend with our friends from high school. I think he probably is going over to like our friend Mateo's house or something like that. But fun little snippet here. He is getting back from a cruise, like literally probably right about now or in like the next hour. Like the reason that he's not on the show today is because he's getting back from his cruise. Like if this show was at like maybe like if our show was from 3 to game time, maybe he'd be here, but like not now. It's too early now. He gets back like right before the game starts, I believe.
Have you guys ever been like out of town I mean, obviously, like for me, of course, I was out of town like for my college stuff. But
yes.
Have you guys ever been like on like a vacation or like out of town?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, the only thing that counts for me is out of town is me being at the site where the Super Bowl was.
No. For me, I've always been in school when the Super Bowl happens. Like throughout high school, middle school, and now I'm technically out of my hometown, yes, in Champaign, but I'm still in state, so it doesn't.
Yes, you sure are. You sure are still in state, my guy. But you're closer to St. Louis than you might think. So technically you're closer to enemy territory, I guess, in terms of bordering cities, if you will, or than not. So yeah, you may be in state. You're just in a little bit of a different territory than maybe what you're used to.
But you guys, you didn't let me do any superstitions, but it doesn't necessarily count for Super Bowl. But I want to mention this. So when the Bears were playing the 49ers, I am not joking about this. Every time that the Bears scored, like 2 minutes before they did, my dad walked upstairs. Like and he was upstairs when they scored, and when he came down, I had to be the one to tell him that they scored. And it was just funny because I believe my dad was downstairs sleeping on the couch for the final play of the Bears 49ers game. I wonder if he just happened to wake up and walk upstairs to go get his phone, his glasses, something, if that play would have ended differently. Probably not, because we didn't have time to set it up, but who knows? Maybe we would have had one extra win. Maybe we would have had 13 wins instead of 12.
Yeah, very, very interesting to think about. So with a few minutes to go now, we're just going to take some time to promote the rest of the lineup. So this was the first leg of the Clearing the Bench Super Bowl extravaganza. So coming up shortly after this, it's going to be more Super Bowl coverage. So Nick Morgeson and Kellen McClurg, they're going to come on about 4 Eastern or so, live on all of our platforms, to talk about the mess of they're probably going to rant about the pregame show. They're going to do a couple things as well. So they're going to go on for about an hour. We're all going to watch the game in peace. And then Ben, you and Tom Albano, you guys are going to come back after the Super Bowl, regardless of the outcome, to talk about the game for about an hour or so. Just kind of talk about how excited you are to be a part of that. And then we will wrap up with our final goodbyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys could see myself pulling a massive celebration tonight, or you could legit see my sorrows. So no matter what, I will be here.
I'm sorry, Ben, but I hope I see your sorrows.
Man, Grant, so much of a friend you are. No, I'm just joking.
Come on. The Seahawks need revenge for 10 years ago.
Well, I'll be on regardless of what happens. So I'll be ready.
No, that's gonna be a good show. That's gonna be a good show. Regardless.
That's going to be a good show for sure, and a lot more coverage to come, I'm sure, after the game from all of our respective shows as well. So as we finish up the stream, just a few quick reminders here. Be sure to subscribe to the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. You can do so at youtube.com/EDB Network. Hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any streams like this as well. It would be greatly appreciated if you guys checked all of that out. Of course, you can follow the show across social media at TFB Forecast ETB. You can follow myself at Zain Bando 99 on X and Instagram. You can follow Ben at Ben Kruse 90. You can follow Grant at Football Man 34. Anything else you guys want to plug, either just, I guess, network-wise or social media-wise, or just, I guess, sports-wise, of things to look forward to in regards to shows or anything else you guys have going in the last several minutes?
Yeah, once, obviously, football season's sadly done tonight, no matter what happens with my team. Just really want to say quickly that I'm very, very proud of this team, no matter what exactly happens tonight. They obviously surpassed my expectations. I think most Patriots fans' expectations. And, it's not like that this overall group of players, is coming to an end. This is specifically a beginning of potentially what could be special, down the road here. So I just want to shout out my team really quick for doing this and to hopefully, play a big game on the big stage and see what happens. Obviously, if Seattle wins, I'm going to congratulate them. I'm going to take, the high road because they are the better team. They obviously would want the revenge from Super Bowl 49. But obviously, we're here for a reason too. And of course, if we win, I'll definitely celebrate. But I know obviously, when your team's obviously playing, it could be very, very toxic. It could be obviously very, very, back and forth esque. But I'm just going to watch it and be the fan I've been all year, and hopefully the best, of course, to come. In terms of once the season's over, though, hitting for the cycle will be continuously going. We're now, I think, on week 4 or 5 for the year. So, baseball, is coming. Obviously, I love football. I know you guys, of course, that's kind of, you guys love it. But baseball is my first love. So I'm very, very excited for baseball season and spring training. That'll be obviously coming up pretty soon. So me, Ryan, and our new guy, David Waitman, who you guys have not met, but David's a great guy. Ryan, I know you guys ever met Ryan yet too, but they're both great guys. Hitting for the cycle coming. We're going to be trying to kind of look forward to us like Thursdays our target dates, Thursdays are Fridays, and I'll be hosting most of the shows. So I just want to promote that really quickly to you guys, and of course, looking forward to you guys coming on for the next one, and then. We'll also be having, other stuff too, with Olympics and March Madness talk, hopefully. So, this network never sleeps, but obviously it's going to be very, very sad when football ends tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And then just to plug some of my stuff, this coming week, we're going to have Bandos Breakdowns episode 77. Another packed episode, I'm sure. We started off the year with 2 guests in a row. We're not going to have another guest for a couple weeks, but it's still going to be a packed show. We'll probably recap the Super Bowl, talk some college hoops, and do a few other things. But that premieres on Friday afternoons, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. And then, of course, ETV Sports with myself and Nick Morganson. Episode 304 is going to be the entire Super Bowl recap and whatever else we decide. Rundown isn't fully finalized just yet, but I'm sure it'll be a fun show. Grant, anything else that you want to add to your stuff before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that everyone, that watched enjoyed this, and I want to say I believe that Gridiron Gurus is going to be a all year round show too. So I mean, we'll probably start, doing the off season shows for that in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'm not sure if we'll do one next week, because that is. I mean, maybe we do one where we recap the Super Bowl.
We could also do great, to be fair, because we kind of do like the leftovers, I guess you could say, a forecast. That's kind of the way kind of our show is. So the kind of our post-mortem version, at least, of Gurus, kind of just talking about the overall big part of the season next week, and then we can kind of go in the off season after.
And then once the combine picks up and all that stuff, I'm sure that we'll start getting into that stuff for Gurus as well. And honestly, I just want to also highlight kind of what Ben said, with my team. The Bears, we were probably the team that didn't expect much, maybe like a 9-8 or something like that, or 8-9 this season, because usually with a first year head coach, that's how it goes. But Ben Johnson, he brought a winning type of mentality and a win type of culture into Chicago, which was so freeing. And we made it to the playoffs. We were the first in the division, behind the Packers. So we beat them twice. My only prediction that was wrong was Ben Johnson's Coach of the Year, which well deserved for Vrabel, but I would expect a little bit of a decrease in wins next year because of that. Not too much, but just a little bit. But just know that football is year round now. There's no off season, so we'll have shows year round as well. So
yeah, shows year round as well, and that's very well said. So I think that's going to be a great place to wrap it. Keep it locked into the YouTube channel the rest of the day for the rest of the day's coverage. For myself, Sam Bando, that's Grant Winsauer to my right, and that is New England Patriots fan Ben Kruse down below me. Thank you so much for tuning in on behalf of everyone at the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Enjoy Super Bowl 60 tonight from Santa Clara. Don't eat too much food, and we will see you guys officially for the football offseason very, very soon. Have a good one, everyone.
So
See you
long.
guys.